Good evening, race fans, and welcome to another live broadcast of the Dynasty Racing League right here on DRL TV, your home for everything involving the Dynasty Racing League. Tonight we look on as the Molnar Automotive Cup Series travels to Sparta, Kentucky to take on Kentucky Speedway. As one of the newer intermediate tracks that has been introduced to stock car racing, Kentucky Speedway has already won the hearts of fans and drivers alike. With its incredibly wide racing surface and relatively flat banking, this track can sustain 2 and 3 wide racing, something that we don't often get to see. Now, including tonight's race, we do have 8 races left until we start the Molnar playoffs, so each race is starting to become more and more important as these drivers look to gain some sort of advantage heading into the playoffs. The only real way to do that is by winning. Now, my name is Getty Buckner. Joining me tonight is Martin Wenzel. Martin, is tonight the night we see a new race winner such as, Eric Johnson and Chris James? Or could it be one of our newer drivers that could get their DRL victory tonight? Their first one, names like Kean Howell, maybe Caden Honeycutt?
Well, the guys that need wins, they don't completely need wins, but it'd be helpful for them going into the playoffs, are Eric Johnson and Mike Springer and Chris James. Those guys that have shown up to 80% of the races. That's going to become a thing. It's going to become a issue for some of these guys that have some wins but don't have that 80% participation that is the rule. So I'm just going to look at the practice times right now. Caden Honeycutt as the third fastest time, so he or Joseph Helt, they could be looking for a win.
Joseph Helt actually last week he was he got his first DRL victory.
Oh yeah, he did get his first one last week,
at Daytona, which again left us as we left Daytona last week, it left us kind of wanting a little bit more. I know it wasn't the greatest, most competitive race. The setup made it so that you're basically just kind of driving in a straight line. Tonight, however, I can almost guarantee we won't get that type of race, as with judging by the looseness of this fixed setup that we have tonight, and you incorporate the pretty decent weather that we have with the track right now was at 80 degrees. I think that's going to be a good recipe for 2 and 3 wide racing, like I had just mentioned, Martin.
Yeah, I'm hoping people are patient enough to let it get to a point where you can actually do some racing and not force it in and cause too many cautions early on. Let those tires wear in, let people wear out and make mistakes, and you'll be able to make moves here.
Yeah,
there's room.
Yeah, no. One thing, passing here is going to be difficult. Again, that's why you'll see the 2 and 3 wide, but because of the relatively modest banking, I guess is what you want to say. We've got 17 degrees in turns 1 and 2. In turns 3 and 4, it's actually less than that. It's 14 degrees, and then once you put in the fact that we have all those bumps in both ends of the track here. It just makes passing pretty difficult. So, again, these drivers do need to be patient. One thing that we saw in last night's race a lot was with drivers trying to pass on that low line. It's going to be a lot of sliding up into the car outside of you, which, at Kentucky you have room to kind of give that driver that extra space that they need. But, is the driver on the outside going to give it to you, or are they going to pinch down? That's going to be the question that we see that gets answered tonight.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna be some bumpers and some doors like getting crinkled up in this one, especially with it being loose. Gonna have people. I mean, last night we saw some diving, really going into those corners hard, and while another guy, it's different braking points. Some people are going to go in really hard and then brake and slide up the track, and other guys are going to brake sooner and try to run the apron, run the yellow line. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, and we're riding with Eric Wolf right now as he does his hot lap, and a hot lap indeed, running a 30.266 Again, Eric Wolf, you know, he is our defending champion in this series, I believe. Is that right, Martin?
Yeah, and I don't know if you have the playoff standings, or not the playoff standings, but the season standings up there.
I do.
You'll see Eric Wolf is not locked into the playoffs because of that 80% rule, and at least at this point, I mean, the rules are still kind of in flux a little bit, figuring out how it's going to go, but right now, that 80% applies to people with the win and in, the locking in your playoff spot with a win. If you don't have 80% of races, your spot is not guaranteed with just a win. You need to get in by points. Now, Wolf, you can see, is solidly in with points as well as having that win. So, because he's only shown up to 10 races out of the 18 we've run so far. That's just because he's got a busy schedule. But I hope, at least from my opinion, I think that's a kind of a decent compromise, that you have the 80% for the guys to get locked in with a win. So that excludes guys from just coming in, running a race, one race a season, and getting a win, and then they're in and they just don't come the rest of the season.
Now
that's sort of what the spirit of the rule was, and it's like, I think if you can get into the playoffs points wise, running fewer than 80% of races, all more power to you. I mean, you're a playoff driver. You're a guy that can, right, and then hopefully you show up, But
and also just.
David Wright.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, David Wright's on the outside. Well, David Wright's on the outside looking in now, because he's also in that same kind of boat. He's run 11 out of 18 races. He's got the win at Daytona, but he's been a little hit and miss as far as attendance. So now he's on the outside looking in. He has to get in on points. So that kind of shakes up the playoff field a little bit. I mean, basically from last week, John Theodore and Jordan Gonzalez made their way into the top 16, while David Wright and I don't know who else fell out. I think Daniel Hallis might have fallen out of the top 16.
Hallis fell out because of his attendance. Another driver that could fall out if not this race, maybe the next, is Brandon Dalton, who is kind of taking a little. It seems like a little bit of a break here from iRacing or something. So that could move. That could open up another spot for somebody else for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of guys that I think can still get in by points, especially if they get some help from some of these other guys that are ahead of them not showing up as often. Eli Hinton, I could see Kean Raleigh Howell, because those are guys that are going to finish top 5, and you finish top 5 enough, you're going to get the points, even though you're racing a lot fewer races.
Well, it looks like Eric Wolf has won our poll. We'll certainly bring him in just a second. One thing I do want to clarify, I'll bring up the points real quick, is just because Eric Wolf isn't doing the 80% based on his win, when the playoffs do start, his win will still count as bonus points.
Yes, he will get the bonus points.
Just to clarify, just to make sure, like, that win isn't completely, I guess, useless, but a great hot lap by Eric Wolf. He was the fastest in qualifying and also the fastest in practice too, as far as hot laps are concerned. So we'll certainly try to bring in Mr. Eric Wolf here if I can certainly find him.
Yeah, look who's in second place, Caden Honeycutt,
who ran last night. He was very competitive in last night's event as well. So what we will do is we will look at this grid here, and we will bring in our pole sitter, Mr. Eric Wolf. Eric Wolf, sir, do you have a copy?
Yes, I do. Go ahead.
Well, congratulations on a pole tonight here at Kentucky. What are your keys? Obviously, you got the fast time for one lap. Do you have a fast time after 10 laps or 20 laps? Kind of what are the keys to stretching this speed out for a whole run here?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I have enough. These guys it's a really quick field here, but I'm going to see what I got. Just got to not overdrive the car. It's really easy to do, and you burn up the right front. It's also easy to lose it coming off the corner, so it just takes a lot of discipline here. It's almost like a short track style racing. Track position is really important.
Yeah, we did note that the looseness of this setup, and actually most of the setups with the A class, I guess that's not too abnormal here, but good luck tonight, sir. Keep it clean and keep it green, eh?
All right, thank you.
And we will move Eric Wolf back down here to Dysfunctional Patriots. And again, looking at the grid here, we actually do have a pretty big field today as well. So there's gonna be a lot of cars basically running, trying to get to that almost middle line here at Kentucky. Is kind of the same thing that we saw last night, even. So certainly going to be an interesting race tonight.
Sounds like we're having some gridding issues with some of these guys. Yeah, look at the results for the qualifying. PJ O'Leary qualified 26, but it's showing him as no position. And actually shows the guy that qualified behind him, Jim Westerfield, as 26, and so on. Yeah. That was the confusing thing. I saw there were 30 drivers who had qualified, but then you notice PJ O'Leary's in there, he should be 26, and Matthew George also having trouble. So a couple of guys going to be down early in this race and get the green flag.
Yeah, green flag. Eric Wolf out to a very big jump here, I suppose is what you want to call it.
As wide there.
Kean Howell, Wade Hustad, and last week's winner. Yep, last week's winner, 3 wide coming off there. And we saw last night Wade Hustad got damaged lap 1 and actually ended up ruining his race. So these guys better be careful. As we do have 133 laps tonight, there's certainly no sprint.
Oh, I was wondering what happened to him. I saw him back in the field a few times during the race.
Riding on board with Kean Howell, watching the side-by-side battle between Joseph Held and Wade Hustad. And looking behind, it just seems like people are kind of trying to get single file here, but certainly not always successful because, again, there are 30 cars out here tonight, so not a lot of room for a lot of people.
Yeah, look, they're settling in, getting into their grooves, where they want to drive. There's still going to be some moves here. There's going to be opportunities to pass.
Yeah, we were looking back here at Thomas Harmon for 15th. He and Clay Phillips. Clay Phillips, a driver that we don't often see running in the A class. We see him, he's a B class, a B series regular, or whatever you want to call it. So he's, obviously he likes this racetrack, so he's decided to join us tonight in that beautiful Irwin paint job.
I'm watching back here Chad Presnell battling Eli Hinton for 21st. Presnell starting far back in the field.
Chad Presnell, I believe he started, he was one of those guys that maybe did that 4-minute lap or whatever as we bring up his, he did start 29th, making his way up to 22nd.
Lap, so.
And now Chad Presnell, he was another guy last night. Of course, it's a completely different car, but he was another guy that showed his tenacity on the longer runs. He showed the importance of saving equipment here as he was able to chase down Justin Bolton after about 10 or 15 laps. Had that race last night gone green, Chad Presnell would have won that race almost certainly. So you're probably using that same tactic tonight, just try to get some of these laps knocked out, and then of course, hopefully, I'm sure he's going to want to see a long run here. As Kean Howell has passed Wade Hustad, knocking Hustad back down to 5th. And Steven Sims, one of our newest additions to the Dynasty Racing League, trying to hold off Jonathan Schwartz for 6th and 7th there with Anthony Burrows right behind both of them.
How long was that first run last night? That run, I think it was like 40, 45 laps.
Yeah, it was.
When I came into the pits, my tires were down to, I think, 17% on the right fronts.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of tire wear, actually, depending on how you drive it.
Yeah, again, tonight we're looking at about 50 laps, 55 laps for a fuel run in these vehicles. Last night was just about similar when we saw our first caution. It was kind of as right as some people were deciding to do green flag pit stops, and actually Caden Honeycutt was one of those cars, and he actually ended up getting kind of shafted there.
Yep, he did. He was the one guy that went in. I think he was in 3rd or 4th when he went in, and then no one else really went in, and then that yellow flag came out, and he got put down a lap. So
now we were riding with Eric Wolf now. Our leader still has led every lap, but he is starting to get a little bit of pressure here from Caden Honeycutt as Caden Honeycutt has reeled him in 0.2 of a second. Is Eric Wolf's lead currently, and then a full second back to the 3rd place runner of Joseph Held and Kean Howell, Wade Hustad. As we look
with all that tire wear, these two guys in the front, do you think they're burning off their equipment here, and then Joseph Helt saving it a little bit, and we'll be able to maybe sweep into the lead.
Well, that's
for the
kind
green
of,
flag stops.
as we are looking back here in this battle here, it's just Thomas Harmon maybe trying to take it 3 wide with Eric Johnson and Mark Johnson. But just to further your point, it's kind of what happened last night with Justin Bolton. He would get out to a pretty decent lead, and then Thomas Harmon, Chad Presnall would kind of reel him in a bit. So, you know, you'll have your short run guys, you'll have your long run guys, as Clay Phillips certainly trying to take it 3 wide, looking inside of the 92 of Alec Martinez. So yeah, Martin, you're certainly correct, you know, bringing that up. You know, do these guys become a little too excited? Maybe burn off a little bit more than they want to. Of course, anytime you're either in the lead or near the lead, you tend to do that, of course. But right now, that Caden Honeycutt is kind of sustaining that 0.2 of a second gap between he and Eric, and Joseph Held is kind of maintaining that 1 second gap between he and Honeycutt. So we'll see how that goes. Again, watching this 3 wide battle back here between Alec Martinez, Chris Stouffer. Actually, Chris Stouffer did get up ahead. Eric Johnson, he's the type of driver that does not want to be in this battle right now. I can assure you that. He's kind of one of those guys that maybe hasn't had the best luck, and, you know, racing 3 wide on lap 11, maybe not his wisest choice right now, as it looks like he might be trying to just get out of it. And
Look at this clump of cars back there where, yeah, that was Alec Martinez and Ed Birch. And then right behind them was Eli Hinton, Chad Presnall, and then Eric Johnson. And Eli Hinton gets loose there, correct, saves it. Good save.
Yeah, that was a good save by him. We did see him lose that tail end just coming off the floor, which Eric Wolf did say that is a possibility, and that's something you and I actually spoke about right before we started the broadcast, as that was my experience in trying to test out this.
Whoa! Yeah, actually, I just went back to the replay a little bit. About half a lap ago, Caden Honeycutt got into the rear of Eric Wolf a little bit in the turn. And now they're side by side.
As we go back up to this battle here,
take that lead.
Eric Wolf might say, you know what, if you want it that bad, take it. Riding on board with Eric Wolf here. Kind of listen to his, trying to listen to his throttle response here. Really feathering it on exit. He doesn't really fully get into it until they're almost on the front straightaway, so you can tell the handling on these cars, it's very borderline, almost out of control here.
Well, just going through this field, it's the number of cars, number of competitive cars we got out there. It's getting pretty good up here in the Cup Series. Mm-hmm. Considering we got Mark Johnson, Thomas Harmon, and Chad Presnall, Chris Stouffer, Eric Johnson. Those guys are all battling in the teams right now.
Yep, exactly. And we've got newer drivers too. Josh Mayhew, Steve Sims, who's an 8th. He also had a good run last night. Eli Hinton, one of our newer additions. Alec Martinez. Edward Birch is a newer driver. This might actually be his first race. I'm not certain. But
yeah, it's the second race.
There's a lot of new guys here, and it's almost unusual to see Anthony Burrows running 7th, or to see Chad Presnall, Thomas Harmon, well outside of the top 10. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the competition getting pretty stiff.
And so there's drivers that aren't here tonight. Last night's winner, Justin Bolton, isn't here. Who he's proven that at Chicagoland, when he even started, because he didn't put a qual lap down, he didn't start. I think he started almost a lap down, and it ended up going caution free, but he still finished on the lead lap, inside the top 10. So he showed that he knows what he can do here in these cars. So once he decides to join us on a more regular basis, that'll just add to the crop of talent that we have. As look at this 3-wide battle back here between Dustin Houston, Chris James, Clay Phillips. These guys cannot get off of each other. Look at this guy, Thomas Harmon, looking inside. Almost 4
right
wide.
Him, Mark Johnson.
And Chris James 3 wide with Mark Johnson, Thomas Harmon coming off on exit, and we already know that on exit these cars are already kind of tough to handle, and then you add the fact that they're going 3 wide. Wow.
And Chad Presnell eyeing up to get past Chris James. Looks like he's gonna clear him.
We are riding on board with Chad Presnell, looking back at Chris James and Chris Stouffer. As we'll look out front here as well and look on to Dustin Musil. And these guys are running so close right now. Oof, so close to Dustin Musil's bumper. And there's just, again, we say, you know, we talk about how wide it is here, but it's really,
whoa, Dustin Musil got
Dustin
loose
Musil
there
had to chase it down the track.
It.
And Chad Presnell tried to pass him, obviously having a speed advantage because he did not get loose. So that's going to cost maybe Presnell. Actually, no, it will not. He will try to get past Musil, but that was almost very, very bad. As if Musil was going any slower, Presnell would have been in the back of him. But again, trying to get my point in here is, even though Kentucky is incredibly wide with the old, you know, because right now in iRacing currently we still have the 12-year-old racing surface that we drive. It's so bumpy. Yes, there's the space is there to go 3 and 4 wide, but it's almost you're almost unable to do it because of all the bumps and, you know, everything that's involved in having a 12-year-old racing surface. So it looks like Eric Wolf has reeled in Caden Honeycutt back now, that lead just under 2/10. Looking inside there, Wade Hustad ended up passing Kean Howell and Joseph Held to come back into 3rd position there. Joseph Held still hanging on to 4th, Kean Howell rounding out your top 5. Looking back here in 12th position, again, everyone, it seems that they just cannot get themselves sorted out right now. Clay Phillips, looking behind him, you can see the battle between Presnell and Musil still side by side after that incident that Musil had 2 or 3 laps ago, as they have now finally gone single file here.
Well, the biggest issue is coming out of those turns. If you don't come out of the turn as fast as the guy behind you, he's gonna just gonna gain on you so fast. That's what you're gonna see. I think at some point we're gonna see a guy coming out of the turn, gain a ton of speed, and slam into the rear end of a guy who's going a little bit slower, might have gotten a little tight coming out of the turn or whatever it is. And that's where you're going to see a nice fender bender. And right now you can see it kind of, Eric Johnson is coming right up on the bumper of Dustin Musil out of these turns. Musil kind of holding up the train a little bit, it seems.
Yeah, and again, with it almost being a one-groove racetrack at this point, because, I mean, we just... as you see, Stouffer loses the rear end. And we saw that a lot in practice, Martin. You and I both noted that the fact that especially on exit, a lot of these drivers were kind of losing control of their vehicle here. 93 car of Edward Birch is looking inside of Eric Johnson, again fighting for that 15th spot here.
Yeah, basically the top 14, it seems to have gotten single file, right?
Just about. Our first side-by-side battle appears to be what we're watching currently, with Eric Johnson trying to get past Dustin Musil now after holding off the 93 car of Edward Birch.
Yeah, the top 10 are pretty spread out. Pretty big gap actually between Steven Sims and Anthony Burrows. Sims in 8th and Burrows in 7th, and then it's just kind of a single file, getting a little strung out here. There's a little bit of a battle now. It looks like Chad Presnell is going to be trying to get into 12th. Chad Clay Phillips is going to take that pretty easily.
Yeah. We're looking there at Chad Presnell. Go back here to Dustin Musil again. It's almost impossible to come off of this battle right now. Dustin Musil looks like he has some pretty significant left front damage there.
I don't know what that's from. Missed that.
We will try to. I'm trying to do the chase cam here on Dustin Musil.
Can't really see anything there. Well, definitely on his left side, just over that tire well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what. Yeah, I'm not sure what caused that.
That we get a great look at it there, looking out of the back of Chris James' vehicle to Dustin Musil. Again, it doesn't appear to be on his nose, so it might not be slowing him down too much. But again,
looks like it was back on lap 25.
Who did he get?
He got into Eric Johnson just a little bit going to the turn. That caused significant damage. It didn't look like that much of a bump at all. So that's what it was. He was going into the turn and kind of just got a little side damage with Eric Johnson.
Interestingly enough, Eric Johnson, trying to look at his car right now, it doesn't appear to be in really. Again, his paint job does maybe hide some of the damage because it's a pretty busy paint job. But I can't.
He's got a little. You can see on the numbers, maybe there's just a little scrape, but yeah, there's not as much damage at all on his compared to Dustin Musil. So Musil got the raw end of that deal.
Yeah, looking back here at Chris Stouffer, we're going to go back just a little bit for 20th position. Stouffer passing or trying or getting passed here by the 70. Either way, a side-by-side battle with Aaron James just behind these guys, and Michael Morley, one of our newer DRL drivers as well. You can see, these guys are trying to get that bottom line in 3 and 4. It's just, you're just not going to have that speed coming off. We might see this track change, though, Martin, once we get some rubber laid down in that middle lane. Of course, we're only lap 30 of 133, so that's not going to be happening anytime in the immediate future. But certainly after 70, 80 laps, we could see people trying to go higher or lower, and maybe avoiding that middle groove that these guys are currently running in those corners, because it's going to be a little bit slicker, and this is already a loose setup to begin with.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna gear up to be about 3 wide here coming soon. Dustin Musil and Andrew Marsh.
Yeah, that's what we've been on that battle for a couple of laps here. Again,
yeah, everything in front of him strung out in single file now.
Yeah, it looks like Eric Wolf has just about caught Caden Honeycutt here. We're going to kind of just go up front here as Eric Wolf is looking inside of Caden Honeycutt. This battle is for the lead side by side, coming out of 2. Eric Wolf, it looked like he was just about losing that rear end. It looked like his tire, or it looked like his car was kicking out just a little bit, trying to make that pass stick there on the bottom. And obviously, the more that these guys battle side by side, Wade Hustad. Ooh, slide job by Eric Wolf. Wade Hustad is going to be catching up to both of these drivers here in just a little bit if they keep battling it out like this. Caden Honeycutt looks to cross over.
Yeah, it's a little early for these guys to be racing the way they are right here for the lead, with the slide jobs and the blocks and the crossovers.
We saw Caden Honeycutt really come out of the turn 2 with almost sliding his rear end. Again, that's not going to do any favors for his tire wear, of course, as mentioning to Eric Wolf. He said, ooh, and you can see the wiggle there from Caden Honeycutt.
Wiggle.
Eric Wolf mentioned that taking care of those right side tires are going to be key here to winning this race, especially on the longer run here. It doesn't appear that either one of those drivers are trying to do that right now. And Wade Hustad predictably has cut into that lead that he has, as Joshua Wakefield has decided to hit pit road here. A little early to be a scheduled pit stop for Josh, but we'll see if he has some
feeling
damage.
comfortable with those tires. I'm not seeing any damage, at least on the left side.
Okay.
And the right side looks clean. We're probably just getting new tires.
It looks like going back here to the battle for 5th and 6th, Anthony Burrows trying to get past Jonathan Schwartz, and those two, that's a more predictable battle that you would see on lap 35 of 133. Kind of just let him go a little bit.
Well, that battle for the lead, it reminded me of Chicagoland last lap between Larson and Busch, and last lap, go do the slide job, slamming each other, knocking each other around, but boom, Caden Honeycutt gets loose again coming off the turn, going into the tri-oval.
Thomas Harmon looks like
it's too early for that kind of racing.
Yeah, Thomas Harmon got past Steve Sims just now as you were speaking. 3 wide there, John Theodore, Chad Presnall. looks like everyone's just feeling a little racy today. Not, you know, it almost appears that as we weren't the only ones that were left Daytona a little bored, as Presnell gets a little loose, battling Steve Sims on the inside, and John Theodore is almost forced to push him down the straightaway there.
Well, it's a track where if you do the turn, you get through the turn on the right line.
Ooh.
There goes Steven Sims loose. He's gonna be able to save it. But if you get through the turn with a head of steam, you can blow past the guy, and that's what's happening right now. That's why it's so racy, because you know it just depends. It's so much of a line track that if you screw up in the turn, you're gonna be going 10 miles slower than the other guy.
Now we are on board with Steve Sims right now. This is going to be a replay coming out of 4. I want you to see. You know, he let out just in time to realize what was happening there. Or else, we saw last night Ryan Hesgaard. You know, even the tight setups that those V cars run in the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters series. Ryan Hesgaard got loose out coming off the 4 and actually took a little trip on the inside or on the infield grass there. And now because of Steve Sims kind of slipping up just a little bit, he kind of stacked up this field, and now we're going to go back to 2 and 3 wide battles back here, kind of for this.
I don't like what Joshua Wakefield was looking like. He was going to try to slice through the Johnsons there, and he's now down a lap, I think, right? Because of that pit stop.
Yeah, he did take a pit stop.
He's got fresher tires.
He's got the fresh tires, but again, you can't. You know,
don't slice through there though like that, because he almost did get up into Mark Johnson. He looked like he got a little loose, went in a little hot. And Mark Johnson actually going on the outside and try to get past Steven Sims now.
This has been a very racy back here. As again, the top 7 or 8 or so has kind of really just strung out. You know, a couple passes here and there. And interesting to note, Chad Presnell has reached his way all the way up to 9th after starting 29th. So Chad Presnell plus 20 positions so far in this race here in Kentucky.
Yeah, he and John Theodore were almost in that 3 wide just a few laps ago. Now they've strung out and they're just driving around now comfortably. Behind them, you got Clay Phillips, who's kind of just been running alone, and Joshua Wakefield working his way through the field on those fresh tires.
We're gonna do a little bit of an instant replay here on Chris James exiting 2 there, and he just gets so loose and actually ends up hitting that outside wall. Pretty significant right side damage for Chris James. Again, another one of those playoff hopefuls that we have. Is he is currently, I believe, it was 10th in points. So we'll see. Hopefully, he can rebound from that damage. But it was basically on the straightaway, and there's just so much wheel spin coming off the exit of 2. It was almost similar to Atlanta. If you remember Atlanta, Martin, in these cars, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but there was almost a lot of people losing their rear end in that situation. Just driving down the straightaway.
Yeah. Well, that right there reminded me of what happened to me at Texas, where you just get on that backstretch and suddenly your car turns right, and it's like, what just happened? I just hit the gas. You just hit that,
we have contact. Clay Phillips.
Alex Martinez. Whoa, Clay Phillips, Mark Johnson, Steven Sims.
Oh, Stouffer gets into Mark Johnson there at the tail end of that wreck. As we will bring to you a replay of that, watching these guys go into turn 1. Mark Johnson trying to get his position here on Clay Phillips, and kind of
Johnson's fine.
Slides up in front of him.
Well, Phillips.
Well, not quite.
Yeah, that was Phillips hit the wall and came down.
Johnson kind of tried to do a slide job almost. Phillips, instead of letting up and letting him have it, tried to continue passing him on the outside. And again, we will watch this.
That wall.
We're going to watch this from Mark Johnson's point of view here, if I can find him. We're going to watch his gearbox view as they head into turn 1. You see him get that run on the outside. Tries to slide in front of Clay. Clay doesn't like it. Hits that wall. Comes right back down into him. And then Stouffer, unfortunately, nowhere to go there at the end.
Yeah, just too much traffic for Stouffer to get down there. Michael Morley was kind of right in that path where he could have gone, but
looks like obviously everyone here is going to be pitting. very unfortunate for Clay Phillips. Also Mark Johnson, you know, but, you know, we've seen just all the battles tonight, and, you know, again, maybe that's one thing that you and I should have spoke about in addition to everything else is maybe a little bit of patience here. As these guys, you know, running side by side for 30, 40 laps, you're not really going to want to give and take much longer. You're going to get a little frustrated with the guys that keep running you so hard, and maybe that's kind of where Clay Phillips was at. Instead of letting up there, he decided to, you know, just try to keep his position and end up costing him a pretty decent shot at, you know, he was just about ready to crack the top 10 there. So,
well, that just ended up costing Chris Stouffer his race because he's now out of the car. Probably had significant engine damage. And yeah, just talk about that. Caden Honeycutt came over, and Anthony Burrows also coming over. Their right fronts in the 60s percentage-wise. Where I don't remember how long that first run was in the Grand National race, but for most of the guys after that, when that first yellow came out last night, it was a lot of guys were in the 40%. So I'm not sure if the run was a little bit longer.
Chad,
or if people were just running off.
I believe Chad Presnell stayed out, maybe led a lap, and has decided to now go in and pit again. So he's gonna again claw his way through the field here. Once we decide to go green here. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, you guys. This has been DRL TV. We will be right back for more live coverage of the Kentucky 200. Welcome back. We are live again at the Kentucky 200, getting ready to get their green flag for the start of our second stint here of 46 of 121 laps here. And Eric Wolf is gone, and guys, we are going to get rev it up. What do you say, Martin?
Yeah, let's go for it.
We'll take a little bit of a break there as we saw the leaders kind of get mixed up there, and then the caution came out. It appears to be Joseph Held spinning.
Yeah, Eric Wolf got into the wall, and that kind of backed everything up.
Yeah, absolutely. Backed him up, having to make those up.
And actually then what happened in front of Joseph Helt was that Michael Morley in the 06 got into Alec Martinez right in front of the 02, Joseph Helt. Joseph Helt slammed on those brakes.
Yeah,
he got clipped as Alec Martinez came down. He clipped the 02, and that's going to catch Sidarius Jackson as well.
Yeah, we see the 92 there trying to save his car. Didn't quite, though, as he did clip the 02.
Clips the rear end of 02, yeah.
We'll right on board again here with...
Yeah, I'm wondering why that happened between Morley and Alec Martinez, if that was a reaction to what was going on with the leaders. It's always strange how something in the front of the field that has nothing to do with where you are can kind of cause like a little bit of a chain reaction. Just, oh no, something's going up in the front of the field. But the front of those guys in the front did an amazing job to just stay off each other. Yep, as Larry Mack says, cautions breed cautions. That was a really weird sequence of events again because Eric Wolf got into the wall. He's got significant rear end damage now, and his right side is pretty scraped up. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back. Let's see who got into him there. Even that whole thing is going to need to be a replay.
Yeah,
if we can.
Because
that was just a kind of a Let's see. All right, so here comes Eric Wolf. Yeah, Caden Honeycutt got into him. Oh, and then Kean Riley Howell kind of made a move and got into Eric Wolf.
It looks like Eric Wolf is
that's where that left damage is.
Oh, yeah, Eric Wolf actually ends up saving it because he does get contact from Kean Riley Howell. Howell is going to have a little bit of nose damage, but that all started with, it looks like Eric Wolf maybe just carrying too much speed off of turn 2, and it's funny how a little bit of a wall scrape can cost several people. It took the pristine out of a lot of these race cars here.
Well, and that's the thing. Caden Honeycutt did an amazing job to stay off of Wolf there. He didn't get any damage on his whole front looks completely clean. But then Kean Riley Howell saw everyone slow down and went in hard and paid the price for that. Same with Wade Hustad. Wade Hustad looks clean. They were right on top of Wolf when he hit the wall, and both those guys survived.
That's funny.
Clay Phillips stepped on his car as well. His race is over. Not sure how much damage he had from that wreck.
It's funny because just before that, Chad Presnall, he decided that he didn't really want to be part of that lead pack, and he decides to go down pit road. Had he not, that could have been him who got caught up in that. So Presnall trying to really run a conservative race here, and it seems to be paying off for him so far as he's already back up to 13th spot.
Yeah, so let's run through here. We got Wolf in first, Burrows second, Schwartz, Hinton, Chris James, Caden Honeycutt, and Wade Hustad. So Honeycutt and Hustad drop back a few positions.
And trying to look at the damage of some of these guys.
Theodore and Harmon.
I mean, again, you got some scrapes and some bumps, but it seems like most of these drivers, again, still have, a car that's still, able to contend, for a top 5 at least. Chris James is, we saw earlier, he hit the wall just on the straightaway on that right side there. I was able to get some of it fixed, so, good for him.
Yeah, most of these guys are clean. In this front group, most of the guys are clean. Thomas Harmon looks like he has a little bit of damage. Something's going on with his hood. But let's see. Eric Wolf, of the top 10, Eric Wolf is the most damaged, and that's just that right rear, or that left rear is squished in now.
Now we do have the one to go here. So Eric Wolf, we will see what he can do, how that affects his handling. But Anthony Burrows now, it's going to be his time to shine, as he was kind of back in like that 7th spot. He qualified 10th, but now here he is in 2nd. Jonathan Schwartz, Eli Hinton, of course. Looking at him, he started 25th, so he's another driver that kind of did that Presnall trick where you start kind of weighing back and try to just take it easy, and here he is up here in what appears to be a pretty clean race car. So we'll see what he can do.
Well, now the question is going to be, now the question is going to be, we got some guys on 4 lap tires here, and then other guys who are on fresh tires went in for fresh tires. So now we're going to have a little bit of a difference on tire wear and speed, and that's going to lead to some tricky situations as we go forward now.
Yeah, hopefully we can get some more green flag racing here as Chris James doesn't get a great restart, kind of bottles up that bottom line. That allows the 23 Eli Hinton to try to get inside of Anthony Burrows. Jonathan Schwartz takes over that second spot.
Yeah, Wade Hustad, he's looking for a space to get past Chris James. He's going to get past easily.
Schwartz is looking for the lead right now, trying to take advantage of maybe Eric Wolf, trying to figure out how much damage he has to his car. I mean, he might not be giving it 100% right now. So.
Whoa! And John Theodore too hard on a turn. He's going to go into the dirt, into the tri-oval. He's going to save it, come back up on the track, holds it down. He's going to fall all the way back to the end of the field.
Trying to get back to John Theodore. Yep, there he is. If we're watching the replay now, he does a great job of saving it. Absolutely. We'll try to go.
Yeah, I think we're getting at the point in the race where people are getting a little impatient, driving a little bit too hard now. I think it's always a trouble after.
Oh, 3 wide, Caden Honeycutt. Yeah, no. As you're
fresh tires, you think, hey, I can go faster.
As you're talking about impatience, we have 3 wide in the tri-oval. Caden Honeycutt almost comes up and tags Anthony Burrows as we're watching Jonathan Schwartz kind of take advantage of these two guys going side by side here. Going back to Anthony Burrows now and Caden Honeycutt. Anthony Burrows gets a little bit of loose there.
Loose. Yeah, now Honeycutt's gonna push. He's gonna push hard.
And Wade Hustad's gonna look inside of Eric Wolf, who is just about ready to drop outside the top 5 with that damage that he has. But
Wolf is gonna get squeezed there, though. I mean, you saw that coming out of the turn. He almost got into Anthony Burrows, just nowhere to go. It's getting really tight, and I don't know if Wolf is really slowed down by this damage or what. And he's loose there again.
At the 23 car, Wade Hustad ducking inside, and the 23 car and also the 68 of Thomas Harmon, the new additions to this lead pack here. They're trying to see what they can do up here as well as Eric Wolf now does drop back to 7th spot. Still trying to not accept his fate just yet. As behind him even is Chad Presnall, who we've talked about a couple times as a driver.
And Edward Birch. Yeah, Edward Birch has worked his way up here too. He was in that early on in the race, those 3-4 wide packs that just pulled the cars around. Him and Chad Presnall are just in there, and now they've worked their way up top 10.
Again, we're
Birch starting 20th.
Watching the battle for 7th and 8th here as Eric Wolf continues to kind of fall back here just a little bit. Again, it could be good. It could be part of the damage. Could be the fact maybe he's just trying to take it easy. But I have a feeling it has something to do with maybe the tire wear that he received trying to save that spin when he got hit by Kean Howell. Or again, just that right side damage in general, because he hit the wall pretty hard. But we've seen other cars hit the wall too, and they were able to kind of keep going.
Well, I'm wondering how much that left rear damage is causing trouble too with the setup. He's certainly losing position quickly.
Now we were watching Eli Hinton try to cross over on Thomas Harmon here.
We talked about Chad Presnall going from 28th to 8th, and now he's not in 7th, so he's gained 21 positions.
Yep.
But Eli Hinton as well, 25th to 6th now. So both those guys moving up through the field, and then Edward Birch, 20th to 8th. We got a couple, a group of guys here started in the rear of the field, up in the top 10 now. And some of those guys that started the race in the front, Eric Wolf back to 10th now, Chris James 7th to 11th, Riley Howell 5th to 14th, Joseph Helt 4th to 17th, Theodore all the way back to 20th, starting 8th. Steven Sims started 60th. He's hanging down there in 22nd now. So quite a shuffle of the field.
It looks like Aaron James, I believe that was him back there, that was having got a little bit of loose off that corner there as we were looking out of the back of Thomas Harmon's vehicle. Right on board with Aaron James here and see what he's seeing. As he's getting
Mars caught the wall coming out of that turn. It's going to allow John Theodore to get by him. Yeah, it's weird. It's loose, but people are also getting up, getting into that wall coming out of the turns as well.
Yeah, it's like they're almost sliding so much that it's becoming tight. Right now we're watching the battle between Anthony Burrows, Wade Hustad, Caden Honeycutt. Just behind them, there's also Thomas Harmon, Chad Fresnel, top 6. Eric Wolf, just to update, has just now fallen outside of the top 10. Just now passed by Key and Riley Howell. So both of those drivers have fallen back. So we're talking about the people that have been able to gain a lot of positions, and now also on the contrary to that, there's going to be cars that lose positions. Eric Wolf, Key and Riley Howell, two vehicles that have done that just now.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised Eric Wolf didn't go in after that yellow flag came out, that second yellow flag, and maybe try to bang out some of that damage, because now he's just going to lose a lot of track position. And I wonder, it's like, is there a point where he should just go down pit road and try to get some repairs?
Well,
we're almost halfway through the race, and he's losing so many positions that it's going to be too much to overcome now if he does get the repairs.
It's interesting because, like, even on the camera, like, yes, it is damage, but it didn't seem like crazy damage, like this insane amount of damage. So maybe...
Well, yeah, it doesn't seem like damage that would affect the car so much, or the aero, because it's not in the front end, it's just that back.
So I imagine he probably went over the radio and was like, hey, how's my right side look? Whoever was behind him was like, it doesn't look that bad. And then he probably was like, I'll just stay out. But it might have just really been just the right...
left side. I really think that left rear is what's causing it. Because that left rear bumper is really dented in. And I'm really curious how that can affect... the spoiler's kind of bent over there as well. So I'm wondering if that's what's causing him the trouble. Because it might just be making him more loose. Or more tight. It might that kind of damage completely shift how the car drives, and now you're driving much slower to get around these turns.
It's funny because to put it into perspective, he just ran the same lap time as our leader, Jonathan Schwartz. So again, who knows what's going on right now with Eric Wolf's car? Obviously, if we do have an opportunity to speak with him at some point in this race, I would love to. But yeah, obviously,
maybe he decided. Yeah, maybe that was strategic. All that falling back might have just been completely strategic. He might just want to get out of the way, kind of just get comfortable with the new. Because, like I said, maybe the car feels more tight, more loose than it did before because of that damage. So he had to get used to it, and now he's getting used to it. Now he's running the laps he wants to run. He knows how to run the track again because you have to relearn. When I had the damage, I think last night. Did I have damage last night? I can't remember. But I know I did a race where I got some damage, and the car suddenly went from undrivable to drivable. I had damage, and the damage actually, changed my setup in a way that you can't change it in a fixed setup. You can't change the fixed setup, but if you get enough damage, it does actually change the handling of your car. And sometimes it's a positive thing.
Now,
if you can get the speed.
Yeah, no. Again, with it being a fixed setup, there's nothing they can change. But if the car changes for better or for worse, given any amount of damage that you get, it's not technically cheating. It's just the way it is.
Make a damaged car go the speed that you want it to, because usually if you get damage that's causing difference to your car, it's going to slow you down. Obviously it's easier. Obviously driving here, where we're talking about it being loose or tight, depending on what car it is. If you have damage that's making you go 10, 15 miles per hour slower, you're not going to notice being loose or tight as much because you're going much slower through those turns. You're not on the edge anymore. This top group is spread out. Everything's single file.
There is a lot of single file right now. Of course, people are close to one another, but people might be wondering that, or people might have figured out that there's a lot of chewed up race cars, and we're just halfway through this race now. So people might have decided that maybe going 2 and 3 wide for 30 laps straight isn't the best idea. I mean, I don't know. It's just me.
Well, that's the thing. We haven't seen any. None of the wrecks actually have been caused by going 2-3, going 3 wide or anything. Any really
No, it's been
aggressive
checking
stuff.
up.
I mean,
it seems like.
Yeah, well, I'm going back to that Alec Martinez thing. I'm not sure what happened if Alec Martinez was just braking at his normal brake points, and maybe Michael Morley was a little too aggressive and caught him, and that kind of gave damage to Joseph Helt and Cy Jackson. And the same thing with Clay Phillips. Clay Phillips was just trying to maintain that outside line, which you can do. It's just a way to stay out there. I like to do that all the time. If a guy's passing me on the inside, I'm not going to give him. I'm not going to give it to him. I'm going to fight him on that outside line unless he can get up in front of me. I'm going to make him try to pull that slide job. And Clay Phillips wasn't going to give up that spot easily. The problem is Phillips got into the wall, and sometimes that happens. Is that wall will suck you in. It's a little bit of a magnet effect. And that caused that took out a pretty few good cars when Clay Phillips and Christopher are already out of their cars.
Yep.
Due to that wreck. The Johnsons.
Mark Johnson. He's out there. His car isn't pretty as he is completely missing his rear end.
Yep.
But we're on board with Caden Honeycutt as he tries to put a pass on Anthony Burrows. Maybe Wade Hustad tries to follow here. It doesn't appear that he will, at least right this exact moment. But so far, a really good race as we are just past halfway, guys. DRL TV is going to take one more break, and we will probably bring you the rest of this race to the very end and into our post-race coverage. So, again, you are watching DRL TV. And welcome back to the Molnar Automotive Kentucky 200. Incident involving Mark Johnson. Chris James has brought out the caution here as most of the leaders are going to pit, and then...
Whoa. Go on, Steven Sims. Steven Sims entering pit road, decides he doesn't want to go in, hits the gas, and just slams into the wall right in the tri-oval there.
We're on board with Steven Sims here. Thought better of
he decided
pitting.
he didn't want to go in, and now he's going to want to pit because he's got significant damage. I don't know what his plan is here. It's like, what did he want to lead a lap? He's down a lap, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
not down a lap. So maybe he's trying to lead a lap here, and I guess that's what he's going to do. But he's going to have to come in for the pits now because he's got a heavily damaged car. And that did not help him.
No, he had damage already. So Very unfortunate for Steven Sims there. He's still technically leading, so he might still get what he wants. But again, he was already involved in contact earlier in this race.
Well, back to, the incident that brought out the flag was Mark Johnson trying to pass Chris James in that low line. Chris James kind of stayed in the middle line and then started going up out of the exit into the wall and just was not cutting Mark Johnson any slack. And so Johnson has to, turn that wheel harder to the left, complete that turn and not coast up into Chris James. That's there goes your back end. And Mark Johnson has decided to call it a night with that. So.
All right. Well, while we have a minute, Martin, is there any way you could drop down into the team channel chat that includes Chad Presnell? I would like to interview him, but I don't want to bring him in unsuspectingly. As we were trying to get an interview with Mr. Chad Presnell. Hey, Chad Presnell, you got a copy, sir?
Yeah, I got the box there.
Well, we watched you. You started in the back. You made your way all the way up front. Then you pitted. You were in the back. Then you made your way all up front. Now you're in third. So what are you trying to do? Just show everyone how to pass cars here? Or what's your game plan?
I tell you what, my plan is to stay up here for the rest of the night. I've passed enough cars to last me for a couple weeks. So it's certainly been a wild ride. But I'm just thankful I've been able to get through all that mess without getting any accidents or having any damage. So.
Awesome, Chad. So again, your plan to stay up front. You got anything for these leaders? As in that last stint, we saw Jonathan Schwartz show some pretty decent speed.
Yeah, I'd like to check out with them and see what I got. So it should be a good finish. Excited for the viewers.
Awesome, Chad. Again, hopefully you can do what you need to do there and have a good rest of the race.
Thanks, bro.
Chad, again, teammates with Wade Hustad, who will be starting just outside of him. Obviously, Wade Hustad, he's been he's been up front most of the race here, well within the top 3, top 5. So, from what you've seen so far, assuming that these guys maybe don't have, none of these top 6 or 7 get too much more damage, is there a particular driver that stands out to you right now, Martin?
Say the guy in the lead right now, Jonathan Schwartz. As soon as he took it over, he kind of took off.
Yeah.
Chad Presnell is making a run, and I think he's going to give Schwartz a run for his money. And Honeycutt's still hanging around up there.
A huge shout out to Edward Birch, he's been well within the top 10 for most of this race. Eric Johnson finally making his way into the top 10. So just earlier in the race, we were talking about how those guys, it was kind of weird that they were back there in 15th, 16th spot, but Cream does eventually rise to the top. And for this final little stint here of this race, hopefully we can get some excellent green flag runs in, because we're just about set to go green here. Schwartz takes him down nice and slow. Bottles up the whole field behind him. Certainly a different approach than what some of these guys are used to the leaders doing, as again, he did bottle up kind of the field, and it was kind of a messy restart from 10th on back. One thing to note, Eric Wolf is currently in 23rd spot. He did probably, looking like he spent 45 seconds on that last pit stop of his. So he got some of that damage fixed. You see if he can claw his way back up. Wade Hustad, who restarted in the 4th position, trying to hold off Edward Birch for that 6th and 7th spot here. So great battles already. Thomas Harmon trying to get inside of him and also pass Eric Johnson at the same time. Jonathan Schwartz isn't able to get that huge lead off the restart that he had got last time, which ended up giving him it was more than a 1-second lead that he had when that last caution came out. This time, Caden Honeycutt's keeping it close. Chad Presnell just behind him, trying to make that pass. We're currently watching Thomas Harmon trying to pass Eric Johnson, though.
Yeah, and everything else is... Whoa, Eric Johnson's going to make a move past Edward Birch.
Wade Hustad
Gonna get that.
did get in front of these guys, but he's not really pulling away from this group. He's got to start reeling in that group of Keaton Howell there. These top 5 kind of broke away. It looks like Eric Johnson's actually going to look inside of Wade Hustad, perhaps. Thinks better of it for now, at least, as we go back up to this lead group here. Chad Presnell has gotten around Caden Honeycutt, and as promised, Chad Presnell going to try to attack for that lead and maybe check out with he and Jonathan Schwartz. Chad Presnell, another one of those drivers, he does have the 1 win already this season, but it does need another one to keep up with the Anthony Burrows advantage, for these playoffs here. That again will be starting at 7 races at the conclusion of this one. So you can again, at the beginning of the broadcast, I mentioned a lot of these drivers are going to be motivated to get that win. Obviously, winning is fun, but there's additional implications to it. Chad Presnell realizes this and is attacking currently.
Yeah, there's bonus points for your wins, and then the point standings still matter. So if you have the top points, you get a certain amount of bonus points, and Wade Hustad is technically our leader in points, so he'll get a few extra bonus points over Anthony Burrows in that field. Now, so there is still point standings implications where you get a few more bonus points that way. I think the top 10, get a certain amount of bonus points, starting with the first and down to the 10th.
Yeah, Anthony Burrows, it looks like he has passed Caden Honeycutt, but currently we're riding with Eric Wolf, trying to see what he can do back here. Again, he's only gained a couple spots since he dropped his green flag. He has a lot of traffic to deal with back here. Not sure if he'll make his way back up to the front, but he's trying to fend off people like John Theodore, who found his way back in the back of his pack after that remarkable save, and decided to be a gentleman and mow the infield grass for the Kentucky staff here. Wade Hustad still holding on to 7th. Eli Hinton, who he was a driver that was just kind of up in that top 5. Maybe 20-30 laps ago, he was dropped all the way back down to 16th spot. Again, we're going to go back up here to the front. Anthony Burrows is kind of reeled in Chad Presnell and Jonathan Schwartz. These 3 cars have, sort of broken away from Caden Honeycutt. And Kean Riley Howell, even with that nose damage that he sustained, I believe was running into the back of Eric Wolf. He's still been able to maintain his top 5. And it's very interesting to see what damage can hurt you and what damage can not hurt you, as you would think nose damage would be much more significant than the right side damage that Eric Wolf had. But obviously you see Kean Riley Howell up here in the 5th position, Eric Wolf all the way back in 19th, so very interesting there.
I'm back looking at that, and I see Edward Birch back there. Birch was way up there just a few laps ago. Eric Johnson was passing him to get right up in with Wade Hustad, and now Birch is all the way back here. There's a group of cars. Chris James got a little loose and bounced out, and he's now falling back and kind of forced John Theodore out of that pack. John Theodore was right on the tail of Eric Wolf before, and there was a clump of about 5 cars there, including Andrew Marsh and Edward Birch as well, and kind of just bounced John Theodore out, and he's falling back and hanging out at 23rd now.
Yeah, just trying to, again, obviously there's things that we missed during the live broadcast here. But it could have been a side-by-side battle there where he just kind of, we've seen a lot of people kind of lose grip there. Speaking about Edward Birch, you can only guess what happened to him to put him back in 20th spot. But yeah, he was just inside the top 10, so that's very interesting. Is Thomas Harmon?
Wolf,
3 wide.
Well, 3 wide with Cy Jackson and Josh Wakefield. Right behind them, Ed Birch and Alec Martinez, 2 wide.
And just in front of these guys, it was Thomas Harmon and Wade Hustad. They were going side by side, as we're going to keep our eyes on this 3 wide battle, though, involving one of our leaders of the race here, Mr. Eric Wolf, as he tries to keep it, almost 4 wide here, Martin.
Yeah, it's almost 5. Oh, Jackson is.
There
it is. Yeah, it's going to take Birch. Birch is going to get some damage, and Cy Jackson. That was Cy Jackson was just try, and yeah, someone had to back out there, and there just wasn't anywhere to go. You had 7 cars right on top of each other there.
We're going to go on board with Eric Wolf here. We're going to go look out the back of his car, and as they exit turn 4 here, you're going to see kind of like, it almost seems like Joshua Wakefield maybe wanted to get out of it, but watch how close this is as you see Wakefield just barely hit Eric Wolf and make his night infinitely worse. As we will again back.
Cy Jackson had it saved, had it turned enough, and then he kind of let off and then coasted up again into Josh Wakefield.
It almost appears
it
like
looked like it was going to work. It was going to work, and then he kind of shifted, and that moved him up. He almost went 4 wide. It almost worked, and then he kind of wiggled and
looking at Wakefield, it looks like it's possible that those two kind of just converged on the same line on exit. You know, it's not like it wasn't Wakefield going down, it wasn't Jackson going up. It was just both of those drivers had a vision of how they wanted to exit that corner, and it involved real estate that was already taken up by the other. So
yeah, well, I think Jackson could have stayed down that line, not had to gone up right where that was. But I think they kind of got into each other slightly just before that, and then Wakefield went into that high line. Jackson was in that little bit lower line, could have kept turning it left and been fine, but then kind of wiggled. It looked like he wiggled and went right up into the same line as Wakefield was now in, and there's obviously nowhere for Wakefield to go at that point.
It's funny because each different views show different things. We just went on an onboard camera. Cy Jackson almost looked like Wakefield came down into Cy Jackson, but again, it's all a matter of perspective here. Either way, that's certainly a racing incident. Unfortunate for all those cars. Eric Johnson, though, this gives him another opportunity, or Eric Wolf, rather. This gives him another opportunity to maybe come in, fix whatever damage he has left, and salvage a decent finish here. As we were watching the battle off pit road, Jonathan Schwartz, Caden Honeycutt, Chad Presnell, Anthony Burrows, Keane Riley Howell. So your top 5 will basically remain the same, except for Caden Honeycutt will increase. He will gain a few spots there. He was back in the 4th spot. He will go back up into 2nd. Hopefully we can get a better. Hopefully we can get a better restart than what we had last time, because the leaders really bottled that up.
Listening to the chatter, John Theodore, a couple of guys got black flags for unsafe pit entry there, and it was basically because the line knocked over the cone and they went over that commit area.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that they came flying in or anything. It's like just the whole line was not going in the pits properly. Yeah, John Theodore's not gonna be happy because he's still going to be placed at the end of the line.
Yeah, John Theodore, he's shown the speed this race. He's shown that he's one of the few drivers that can really sustain a side-by-side battle, which has been, as we've seen several times here at Kentucky, isn't really all that easy. So very frustrating for him, because it just seems like he's just destined to not get the finish that he deserves in this race. But just a reminder, guys, we were watching the Kentucky 200. The next race will be kind of almost a similar event with a New Hampshire 150, where almost a one-groove racetrack, middle of the line, middle groove, hard to pass, almost a short track mentality here at New Hampshire. As myself and Martin Wenzel will bring that to you next Tuesday, and then of course tomorrow we will be bringing to you the from Kentucky Speedway, the Kentucky 150 for our Winona Road Truck Series. That will be brought to you by David Wellborn, Taylor Butcher Benjamin at about between 8 and 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. So we've seen Jonathan Schwartz here. We've seen Chad Presnell. It's really hard. Obviously, we don't have to pick a winner if we don't want to, but I'm trying, and I just can't. Those top 5, top 6 cars, Anthony Burrows, Wade Hustad, all those guys, it's incredibly competitive, and not to rule out people like Thomas Harmon, Eric Johnson that have proven that once they get up here to the sleek pack, they can really hang. So interesting to see what's going to play out here for the next 35, 36 laps here. Because we do have one to go, half a lap to go here until we get the green flag. Martin, do you have any guesses, I guess, as to what's going to happen here between these lead cars? who's the fastest, who's going to make the crazy 3-wide move.
Yeah, not really sure. I think Caden Honeycutt, I mean, it sounds like every time these yellow flakes comes out, he's upset because he's been trying to save his tires, I guess, even though it didn't look like that on that first run. Well, you look at the top 5, Honeycutt and Riley Howell don't have wins. You look at the top 7, those are the 2 guys that don't have wins. Everyone else in that group has wins. They're just trying to find their 2nd or 4th or even what would be Burrows would be his 7th win, I think, for Burrows.
Yep.
7th win for Burrows. So they might not push that as hard, but a guy like Honeycutt, he and Riley Howell looking for that first win. You know,
Jonathan Schwartz,
he start again.
He decides to do that really slow. I mean, he's allowed to do whatever restart he wants to do, but more often than not, you kind of see that leader try to get a jump. And this time, he really woes him down, and he's still able to get a decent lead coming out of turn 2. Chad Presnell, Caden Honeycutt battling it out as they enter turn 3. Very, very busy pack behind these guys, including
Eric Wolf just made a move past Eric Johnson and Aaron James pretty easily.
Eric Wolf knocking on the door, maybe still getting a top 10 out of this after, as Aaron James is actually going to try to go outside there. We've seen Chad Presnell. I mean, again, he's passed a ton of cars, so it's possible to make your way through this pack. It's just, of course, uncomfortable given all of the side-by-side battles, how close these guys are. And again, with the rubber that's being laid down here, it might be just a little bit slippery, which makes it even more difficult.
Correction there, that wasn't Eric Johnson he got past, it was Josh Mayhew. Eric Johnson is actually up in, where is he, 8th place?
8th spot. He's currently in frame right now as we're watching Thomas Harmon and Keane Riley Howell battle it out. And behind these guys, of course, there's battles all over the racetrack. It's almost too hard to keep up with, which is funny. This is something we didn't even get at Daytona last week, which is normally that's where you expect a 2x2, 3-wide, all this stuff. But tonight is really
they were very conservative at Daytona, especially on the last 3 or 4 laps. Like, no one wanted to go on the outside and actually battle for a win. They all seemed content to just wait it out.
On board with Wade Hustad, looking back to Thomas Harmon, Keegan Howell, and talking with Martin here about the difference between last week and this week. It certainly seems like these drivers have made up for, you could almost call last week just riding around in a circle. The cliche NASCAR, saying here. But tonight, that's definitely not the case. These guys really pulled their gloves up tonight, and they have decided to battle it out for every single lap every single lap we've had a side-by-side battle somewhere in this field. So it's been a great night for racing. Up here up front, though, the second half of this race has kind of been dominated by Jonathan Schwartz. Looking back to Caden Honeycutt, Chad Presnell, and Anthony Burrows, as we have about 32 laps left. And we do have a caution. Who is that guy?
Alec Martinez is the guy calling out all these wrecks. I don't know where it happened, though. But
Steven Sims, again, right on board with Steven Sims again. If there might have been another wreck somewhere else.
He's missing his front end now.
as he's entering turn 3 here, exit at turn 4. He just kind of loses his car.
That was Josh Mayhew got into him.
Kind of gets tagged. Yeah, Josh Mayhew had nothing to do there. It seems as if everybody kind of got by it okay. Now, if you're a leader right now, are you going to pit?
I think you see, it's up to the leader, really, isn't it? And if Jonathan Schwartz goes in, do the other guys go in, or do they take advantage of Schwartz going in? I don't know if the tire... how many laps was that they ran?
9.
Is the tire difference going to be enough?
Yeah.
But if you go in, if Schwartz goes in and no one else goes in, then Schwartz he's got those fresher tires. Maybe he can work his way through.
No.
If he doesn't go in and then everyone else decides to go in, he's going to get blown past. So, really a lonely place to be as the leader.
Yeah, I'd much rather be in 3rd or 4th right now, for sure.
Yep.
Looking here at the leaders, it looks like they are going
I'd want a really good crew chief telling me what to do. Pretty much.
It does appear everyone in at least the top 10, top 15, almost everyone besides David Wellborn will end up hitting Wellborn on the lead lap, I believe. So this will be his opportunity to perhaps lead a lap here, as he's kind of been stuck in the back of the pack. He's got that damage there. So we will look on here on the other side of pit road. Look at this battle coming off here in just a few seconds. This could decide the race, because we've seen what clean air can do. Not to take anything away from Jonathan Schwartz, but as soon as he got that clean air, it seemed to really just do it.
Oh, who's going to get off?
It looks like Schwartz, Honeycutt,
just beats Honeycutt.
And John Theodore with the 2-tire stop, it looks like, as he will go all the way up to 4th here. It looks like he's the only person brave enough to either do 2 tires or gasoline or something, as he had a 5-second pit stop.
Oh, no. It doesn't sound... No, John Theodore did not make a great strategy there. Did not even take 2 tires. He accidentally took no tires and anything. He just went into the pit lane and didn't really get anything done.
Uh-oh.
So I don't know if he's going to go back in or not, or if he's just going to try to play this out and see if another yellow can come up. If I'm John Theodore, I just stay out, hope that a yellow flag comes out and I can correct that error. Because he's going to fall back, but it's going to be... I don't think he's going to fall all the way back to 23rd where he was running.
Right. Now, if John Theodore is listening to this broadcast, there was a gentleman last night that took 2 tires on and one of the last restarts. One thing you got to watch out for is wheel spin. So please be mindful of that. Well, that's 2 tires.
He's not taking it. He didn't take any tires.
Well, that means it's only going to get worse.
It's going to be worse.
It's only going to amplify the issue. Again, Jonathan Schwartz beating everyone out there. It was close. Caden Honeycutt did get there, but wasn't able to, make the pass. But with Jonathan Schwartz, again, not taking nothing away from him, but Eric Wolf, we saw what he could do out in clean air. And now that he's not in clean air anymore, Eric Wolf seems to not be that, his car is not, even though he does have damage, it does seem that clean air does help a lot. So if Jonathan Schwartz is able to get a good restart here, that's going to do wonders for his chances to grab another win here as we're bringing up the points. Jonathan Schwartz, this would be his 4th win, putting him, he would break that tie with Wade Hustad. And again, these point standings aren't current. They are as if the playoffs were to start kind of today type thing, showing those bonus points inherited with the wins that these drivers have. So Jonathan Schwartz looking for that win that would bring him within 2 of Anthony Burrows, and again break that tie with Wade Hustad. So that would certainly do good for him. People like Caden Honeycutt, who will not be part of the championship picture, he just wants to come out here and get a win. He and Kean Riley Howell, Joseph Held, drivers like that don't, they have no opportunity to run for a championship. They just want to come out here and win.
They still have a chance. They still have a chance, but they would have to get in on points. And so...
Yes, I suppose never say never, but...
I think a few of those guys, if they understood that, I mean, maybe if Honeycutt understands that, it's like he might just, instead of trying to dive and get a win, might just work and try to finish top 3 every race. But there is, you want to win every race. It's not always just, hey, the long game. You kind of just want to get a win. And the discussion going on right now is about John Theodore. It's like he's out there on those old tires. And who knows? Maybe the strategy, not really a strategy, it was more of a mistake on his part, but maybe it will work out for him.
He was back in 20th spot, so it can't get any worse than that. So,
but what's going to happen on the restart here? I mean, is it going to cause the whole field to wreck?
It's a good point. We're about to find out as the pace car is pulled in. Jonathan Schwartz leading him down nice and slow, and he takes off. Theodore, a little bit of wheel spin there.
He's going to bounce out. He's going to give everyone. It sounded like he was just going to give everyone a clear path so he wouldn't get run over. He's going to try to race it, but he knows he's going to have a little bit of trouble. Ooh, Michael Morley just slipped through that 3 wide there.
And they are still 3 wide there. Thomas Harmon, Wade Hustad behind him. Eric Johnson going to try to get past John Theodore as well.
So far, so good getting past Theodore, yep. Getting a little... Ooh, David Wright and Aaron James.
Yeah,
really close.
Yeah, we saw that 3-wide battle behind these guys here, right in front.
Still 3 wide. Wow, 2 rows of 3 wide. Eric, Eli Hinton.
Again,
Burge, Jim West. Oh man.
23, 93, and 70, all 3 wide again with Aaron James, of course. Eric Wolf trying to take that position from John Theodore, but Caden Honeycutt aggressively chasing Jonathan Schwartz right now.
Not only 3 wide, but it's kind of like a group of 5 or 6, almost in like a star pattern or whatever you call that, like an asterisk.
Yeah, it's just, especially on the tri-oval when these cars get fanned out on exit. It's incredible how wide this track is. You could still fit more cars in there. That's the thing. Obviously, you wouldn't want to.
Yeah, so you'll be 3 wide, and then you'll be 2 wide with a guy, and then suddenly you'll be 3 wide, and then that guy will slip back or forward, and then the 3 wide will kind of just shift a little bit. So it's almost a group of 5 or 6 cars, and it looks like they're kind of stringing out now that group. Eli Hinton, Aaron James, Birch.
Eli Hinton does get a little bit loose there on exit. We're right on board with Aaron James and see what it looks like to go 3 wide here as he's getting past. Again, he got loose on exit, so he will lose positions to the 23 of Eli Hinton and the 70 of Andrew Marsh. And looking ahead,
it happens so quickly.
And here's
it happens
the 60.
so quickly. As soon as
crazy.
Yeah, as soon as they clear out, it becomes 3 wide again. It goes single file and then 2, 3 wide, just like that. It's snap of a finger. So it's not an issue of people forcing. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. David Wright just chimed over and got a little offended by Birch there. I'm not sure what happened. I didn't see much of anything. Let's see.
Now with,
I'm going to just take a replay to see it because it's okay. Just come up a little bit.
With just over 20 laps to go here, set our focus here on this top 5 as Caden Honeycutt, Chad Presnell, Kean Riley Howell all trying to chase Jonathan Schwartz. And even behind these guys, we have Anthony Burrows just lurking, waiting for someone to kind of mess up here. But there's a pretty big gap between Anthony Burrows and Thomas Harmon, so right now it is between these top 5 drivers. Because again, we are approaching the 20 to go here.
Yeah, we'll see how long John Theodore can hang on. He's running 11th. Again, that not really strategy, just kind of a mistake, is already still paying off, or is still paying off at this point.
Yeah, currently. He does have 20 more laps to try to go here.
Yeah, it looks like Edward Birch is probably going to get past him soon. Morley's been trying to, but hasn't been able to get a run. Birch has been making the moves through the field here. He was part of that clump of cars, and he's worked his way all the way up to the 13th now.
Now one car to look at here who just, he's just inside the top 10, Eric Wolf. Still not able to rebound fully from that damage, that incident that he had that warm-up lap, basically, following a restart. So, Eric Johnson right in front of him, Wade Hustad just in front of him, and then Joseph Held, who probably has the ugliest car in the top 10 right now with all that rear-end damage that he has, but again, doesn't seem to be affecting him all that much, as Jonathan Schwartz and Cade Honeycutt are battling it out for the lead here. Crossover for Jonathan Schwartz, running really close to Hayden Honeycutt. Oh my good, Caden Honeycutt. There we go.
Honeycutt.
Words, they're so hard. With these guys battling, that's going to bring Chad Presnell and Kean Riley Howell right up to their bumpers here.
Wow, they are, Honeycutt's almost getting right into that rear quarter panel, that left end, and he's going to slide by now for momentarily getting the lead, and gonna complete they're still going to be side by side.
Yeah, Jonathan Schwartz does get that good run here. But again, these guys aren't going side by side. Slide job. These guys going side by side. Presnell and Kean Howell are just right there, waiting to pounce at any given moment.
I mean, the last time I saw bumpers that close was last week at Daytona when they were actually pushing each other. Wow, that was risky, but
it looks like Schwartz will look inside. Looks like Kean Howell maybe tried to block him for just a second, and Jonathan Schwartz was having none of it, as it looks like that'll give Chad Presnell an opportunity to maybe try to take second place over here. Presnell does have that quarter panel, so he will try to attempt that pass inside. Don't wash up and get into him. It's very, very close battle here.
Yeah, Yeah, that might have been a, I don't know if that was a spotter issue for Honeycutt, because he said he was clear, and then just as the spotter said he was clear, it's like Schwartz had that nose in there. And, yeah, I mean, that's, I think that these leaders, I don't think Honeycutt can complain, really, because that's just how it's going to be. There's going to be slide jobs, there's going to be some blocks, there's going to be really tight stuff. If you guys want to race like that, I still think it's a little early to race like that. I think they should still be just kind of cruising around and waiting until maybe 5 or 6 to go. We're still 15 laps out.
But again, I think these drivers might understand that maybe they're in. Ooh, Fresnel.
Chad Fresnel now trying to get in there. And Honeycutt.
Honeycutt does get a little bit of loose, able to maintain speed, though.
Yeah, it is getting a little, and now that's all working to the advantage of Jonathan Schwartz now, who's going to start pulling away. And
Keegan Riley Howell
looking on the inside. Looks like he's pretty comfortable down there, too. Not getting loose at all. Easily gets past Fresnel.
as you say
right
that. And Anthony Burrows.
That's an interesting thing, right? Yeah.
Just sitting there.
The loose stuff, sometimes you hang onto it in the corner, and then you get onto the front stretch or onto the straightaway, and then it snaps on you. So now Anthony Burrows is going to use the apron and try to work his way into 4th.
And one thing this has done is this has allowed Thomas Harmon to kind of catch up to this group as well, and maybe take advantage of a passing car too and squeezing himself inside a top, getting himself a top 5 finish here. But just great battles all around today. Kentucky has brought us an incredible race, as we do have about 13 laps to go, as Caden Honeycutt, relentless as always, trying to take that lead away from Jonathan Schwartz.
Save that, Aaron James. I'm watching it. Oh, Eli Hinton lose too. Aaron James got really loose. He's going to lose a ton of positions back there. Josh Wakefield going sliding all over the place. While 3 or 4 guys, every time I just kind of look back in the field, people are just going sideways through these turns, dirt tracking it. Eldora's next week in the trucks, not yet. But yeah, there's some 3-wide action. Alec Martinez, Sam Niederhelm, and Eli Hinton has kind of sorted itself out for the moment, but we'll see if Eli Hinton can make his way through this turn and not go sideways, because that will cause a 3-wide again. Josh Mayhew also working his way into that diamond.
This battle for the lead has been incredible. Crossovers, slide jobs as Caden Honeycutt takes that. Oh, caution.
And there's a caution. So I look away from probably where the caution just happened.
Dustin Musil.
He's had a damaged car all day.
Yeah, he started with. We were riding along with Dustin Musil now on the exit of turn. Looks like coming off of turn 4. He kind of slides up into David Wright.
Gets up into David Wright, takes out Jackson, takes out Chris James.
And then David Wright kind of cuts down into him, it almost looks like. So David Wright maybe not having the full awareness that it was 3 wide, perhaps. Either way, it's kind of, none of those cars back there were having a great day anyway, and this is just going to add to it.
Well, the good news for David Wright is that Jordan Gonzalez and Brandon Dalton are running this race, and so he's going to gain some. He might. I don't know if he'll be able to gain the 23 points on Jordan Gonzalez, but he might.
Oh, David Wright
back into the playoff picture.
Just continuing to watch this coverage here, this replay. David Wright did come down into Dustin Musil.
Yeah, so, it was. Yeah, I think it was just a lack of awareness that there was 3 wide going on there, and there were cars. It's like, give a little bit more room. This track is wide. And sometimes that's the thing. It's like, oh, why'd you force your car in there? It's like, well, why did you come down? You had room. If there's a guy there, unless you're going to be able to get in front of him and actually block him, don't come down.
And all the leaders do pit with 10 laps to go. We'll probably get about 8 laps to go here, Martin. So this is going to be quite a shootout. Caden Honeycutt this time does come in as the leader. Will he come out as the leader, though? We will find out in just one moment here. Jonathan Schwartz has done an excellent job all night keeping, maintaining or gaining track position in the pits. So, as again, Martin, as you were talking about Aaron James and the 3-wide battles and back, just we were kind of kept our eyes on the leaders there, and just the crazy 2-wide. And it's funny because Jonathan Schwartz and Caden Honeycutt were crossing each other over and doing all this crazy stuff. Ooh,
Eric Wolf.
That's a 2-tire stop.
Goes from 10th to 1st.
That's a 2-tire stop by Eric Wolf.
Wow, you got Eli Hinton is right on the rear bumper coming out of pit road, on Morley's bumper.
Yeah, there was a 3 or 4 wide battle there coming off there in the middle of the pack. But yes, Caden Honeycutt, he will start on the outside, so he does not get the benefit of leading this field to the green. We've seen Jonathan Schwartz really use that to his advantage, but Jonathan Schwartz will come out 4th. Chad Presnall, he will be the first car behind our leader Eric Wolf. But oh man, no, I was talking about the battle for the lead that these guys were having. It's just incredible that Schwartz and Caden Honeycutt were able to do what they were doing, and also not really lose any speed. It's just incredible what these guys are doing up here tonight.
Well, now you got a whole different picture too, because you got Eric Wolf, and it seems like Eric Wolf feels comfortable being up there too.
Sam Niederhelm, also, he's another guy that took 2 tires and had jumped all the way up to 7th.
Yeah, he's taking a gamble there, and I guess that's what you do on that late, the last restart. Take a gamble, see what you can do, because you're not going to have to hang on that long. You just have to hang on long enough. You can still probably fall back to 15th and have a decent finish. Better than where you were. Looking
at Sam Niederhelm again, he's one of those guys. He has plenty. He does have the time to maybe catch up and get inside that top 16 for the playoffs. The playoff picture there. Sam Niederhelm, he's been one of the guys that have been with us all year. Just kind of, his attendance is keeping him in it here, and a strategy right now trying to get himself into the top 10. But again, just a reminder to everyone, this is the Kentucky 200. We are just about to complete this race here. Has been absolutely incredible. Great race tonight. One thing to make a note of is if you are watching DRL TV tonight and you do enjoy the broadcast, or if you have a specific driver that you're following, make sure to hit that subscribe button anytime that DRL TV goes live, which we do generally 4 times a week, because we have 4 different series that we run in this league. Anytime that your favorite driver is running, or anytime that you just want to watch some good live coverage, you will get notified on your smartphone or whatever device you have YouTube downloaded on. So hit that subscribe button, like the video, do what you got to do. If you're interested in competing out here with these crazy fools, there's a website in the description of this live broadcast. Now, Martin, as we are set to go green here, again, Eric Wolf just deciding 2 tires. It's not a bad call, because again, the clean air I feel like does have something to do with the performance here. It looks like his car, he's gotten most of his damage fixed.
I think he must feel more comfortable, because I don't think Eric Wolf would put himself in this position if he felt like his car was going to be too slow and bottling up everyone.
Well, we saw it.
We mentioned that after he fell back. He fell back from that, after that yellow that he got wrecked in. He fell back, but he was running the same speed as the leader. Mm-hmm. So I think he figured out what the damage was doing to his car, and I think that's why he took 2 tires. He's like, hey, I can take the gamble. I can drive this car now. I know it can do, and I'm comfortable being the leader. And he's going to take off immediately.
Yep, and then Chad Presnall is going to follow just behind him here and try to maybe get that 2nd spot away from Honeycutt. Honeycutt is still on his quarter panel there. Exit there. Chad Presnall trying to hang on, and it looks like he might get that spot. He actually does slide up in front of Honeycutt here. Honeycutt's going to look inside, giving Wolf an advantage here if these guys stay 2 by 2. That'll give him an opportunity to maybe get a couple tenths off on these guys. But seeing here, they gained a lot of time on Eric Wolf just now. Chad Presnall is actually going to try to make a pass on the outside. Caden make it 3 wide going into turn 1. This is for the lead.
Outside, Caden on the inside. Eric Wolf has to hold it.
Presnall does take that lead. Jonathan Schwartz is going to make it 3 wide.
Run. That's how fast it changes who the 3 wide involves.
Now Presnall wants to keep. Oh, Eric Wolf gets loose. He's going to spin. Oh no.
Oh, Joseph Held.
Merch,
I think avoided that.
Oh, David Wright. Oh.
Is that going to be the race?
That might be the race. If it's not, it'll be a 1-lap shootout. Eric Wolf did everything he could.
Wow. Wolf, yeah, he just went sideways immediately. That caught Thomas Harmon, Joseph Held, Ed Burge, David Wright. David Wright was already running a modified, and that just finished him off, and Eric Wolf loses his. That's it for Eric Wolf, obviously. basically over.
We're watching this restart. We're watching these guys go 3 wide.
I love that. David Wright comes over and is like, can you learn to drive? Talking to Eric, who are you talking to? Because, well, let's see what it is here. What did he run into?
Oh, man.
Oh, it must have been yelling at Cy Jackson, but Cy Jackson's kind of coasting down the track with damage as well. And David Wright was in the grass, coming out of the grass. It's like, I don't know what. I always love when people kind of come over the radio and say, hey, learn to drive. It's like, okay, we're all just kind of trying to get our cars straightened out after, and we're all smoking and our engines are, we're done.
Now, while these guys are pacing, we're just watching another replay of that crazy start from that restart. We're watching again as Chad Presnall is able to catch Eric Wolf, use him as a pick. Could be the race-winning move right here. Gets on the outside of Eric Wolf. Caden Honeycutt does try to go inside here. I think.
Ooh, did you see that? I'm looking at the replay. Ed Birch gave Joseph Helt a nice bump. Helt took exception to that and was like, "What are you doing?" I was just trying to save my car because we saw Birch get caught in that wreck. That wasn't Joseph Helt's fault. I mean, Helt got caught up by Wolf and is sliding sideways. That's not, I mean, I don't know what Birch is doing there. That's kind of silly, stupid. You're going after the wrong guy. I mean, it's an accident. It was Eric Wolf, and everyone got caught up.
Now, again, we can speculate whether this will go under green or not. It's possible that this does include a one-lap shootout, still giving Chad Presnall the advantage here. What a race we've had so far, Martin. This is incredible. 3 wide for the win, 3 wide for second place. I feel, though, as Eric Wolf, he could have made that work, but I don't think he anticipated going 3 wide for 2 laps. Obviously, that was a lot of stress on those older left side tires. He was already at a slight disadvantage, obviously, with these guys having 4 fresh tires behind him. But what a crazy race that Eric Wolf basically at that point just going for the win, knowing that his points were, he has enough points, he could basically throw a few points away if it doesn't work out.
Well, that was the biggest. That was amazing how much he snapped loose there too, because it wasn't that slow. Slowly seeing that back end kind of come out. It's like he just went into the turn and then the back end was gone.
Mm-hmm.
It just went like that. It wasn't a slow, going through the turn. You could see it kind of, he's loose. Can he save it? There was no saving that. He just immediately was sideways.
Yeah, and
that was it.
Part of that is the older tires that he had. Part of that is the rubber that's put down on this track. I mean, nothing. There's no part of tonight's race that was going to make this track any tighter from the start of this race. All that the only thing that's going to happen, especially with the damage that these cars have, the rubber, the older tires, everything, it's all going to make this track looser as the night goes on. In my opinion, that's just my theory. And obviously, going 3 wide, you put all that heat in your tires on a restart, the adrenaline pumping. Incredible racing by these guys. Unfortunate that Eric Wolf, kind of had to, he does have to scrap a race car now, and he doesn't get the finish that he wanted, of course. And we will get a restart here, Martin. So this is going to be crazy 1-lap shootout. Everyone's going to be on slightly worn tires after going 3 wide. We could see tire spin. We could see a multitude of things, and it looks like, looking back here in the pack, it looks like Edward Birch is not going to pit, and he doesn't even have a nose, so that could spell trouble.
Joseph Helt pit. John Theodor's coming over and saying, thanks for the classy move to pull in the pits there, get out of the way, but Birch is going to stay out there.
Birch is
that heavily damaged front end.
Nope, and he's,
right in the thick of
yeah, right next to Wade Husted.
Yeah, and John Theodore would, why is John Theodore chiming over and saying that's a class move by Joe Helt? Because John Theodore is running for points, is running for something here, and he's right behind where Joe Helt was, and he's now behind Ed Birch.
Mm-hmm.
And Birch, who's kind of just too far out of it to really be competing for the playoffs, probably should just pull down pit lane or get out of the way, and it's going to get interesting here.
All right.
We do have some heavily damaged cars that maybe shouldn't be right there.
Now, we do have the pace car just about ready to pull off. This is going to be a 1-lap shootout, a green-white checker. Chad Presnall wastes no time, gets a decent start. And obviously we see
he's going to go 3 wide as they all try to get past Birch.
Trying to split Birch here. White lap, last lap here in the Kentucky 200. Caden Honeycutt.
Whoa, and Thomas Harmon slams into Michael Morley. Morley's going to be okay. John Theodore avoids that. That's unfortunate.
Chad Presnall still got a 2/10 second lead over Caden Honeycutt.
Wide back there.
Kean Riley Howell side by side with Jonathan Schwartz on exit here, trying to. Actually, he does he's trying to block off Anthony Burrows and Chad Presnall.
Whoa! Chad Presnall spins right after. What happened?
I think he just stayed in the throttle there. Whether that was
he just spun that thing out. I don't know, but that's kind of a silly way to end the race right there. But holy crap!
Chad Presnall will be your winner though. We're watching a replay here as he just approaches the start-finish line. I don't know.
Definitely going to make. Now again, you have to remember that everyone gets. If you go a race with 0x, 0 incidents, no contact with the wall or other drivers, you do get some bonus points. It's almost a whole other position worth of bonus points. I think it's 5, and that costs a lot of people. That now, of course, we're gonna have to work through that and figure out who wouldn't have had incidence points until that moment.
Sure.
It does still register those points right there.
Judging by Kentucky, the fact that we saw, I think Chad Presnall, maybe Jonathan Schwartz, Anthony Burrows might have been the only drivers left.
Yeah, there are only a few guys that actually had no incidence points, so we'll see.
We were watching Chad Presnall burn it down. This will be his, looking at the points here, this will be his second win of the season. Great race by Chad Presnall.
You typically don't see a car that doesn't have a hood celebrating the
exactly.
celebrating the race.
Yeah, very reminiscent.
I don't know, whatever he did there. Immediately went into celebration mode as he crossed the start finish line.
Now, very reminiscent of Terry Labonte at Bristol there. Again, we will talk to these guys in just a second as we start the DRL post-race report here. And Chad Presnall has officially blown his engine. He is done. That car is cooked. As we will start bringing in Chad Presnall here, our race winner. Chad, you got a copy, sir?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Well, that was incredible racing all race long, and not just by you, by the entire field. I know there's going to be some ruffled feathers, but Kentucky really promotes incredible 2-3 wide racing. When you came out of turn 4, though, you saw Eric Wolf was a little slow. You saw that he was going to protect the bottom. You went around on the outside, almost using him as a pick to keep Caden Honeycutt kind of behind you. That was an incredible. That was basically the race-winning move there, Chad. Tell us about your race.
Man, it's been an eventful one for sure, but I'd have to say, I know on the broadcast end, you had to have had your hands full with all the amazing racing tonight. From top to bottom, the entire field. I came up through there twice, and I know there was a bunch of good racing going on. So, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a great race by all drivers here. What was one thing in that race, if you could try to go back and maybe remember, what's the one thing that you did in this race that allowed you an opportunity to win?
I think it was just being patient. Patient was a key. Being patient was a key to the night. Not overdriving. Same thing as last night. Just being patient and let the race come to me. So the only thing that I would change about the entire event was put down a better qualifying effort. But other than that, man, just everything's went about as good as it could.
Awesome, Chad. Again, do you have any shout-outs that you want to give here?
Yeah, give a shout-out to you and Martin in the booth. I can't wait to watch the broadcast. I know it's going to be spectacular. James Pandoff, everybody at DRL that puts us on, all the front runners tonight, hell, the whole field for that matter. Spectacular driving. DRL is a great league, and tonight certainly shows that. So, yeah. Shout out to Wade as well. I hate to see he got damaged, but we put in a lot of hard work before this race to get these cars making speed. So.
Yeah, as soon as you guys went 3 wide, I saw a squirrel in the tree outside the racetrack. Me and Martin were just kind of commentating on the squirrel as it was, collecting food and stuff for tonight's dinner. We weren't really watching any of the racing at all. But
I know I told you last week. I said, watch, it's going to be a good show. I knew it was, and it was a lot of fun racing. So.
Awesome, Chad. Well, it's good to see you get that win, and obviously that helps your playoff chances here. So. or your seeding in the playoffs when it starts. So enjoy your win. Go celebrate with your teammate, man.
Yeah, 10-4, bud.
Martin, again, what a crazy race we had. 3 wide. I just can't believe it.
He said it. He said it. The whole field. I mean, there was nowhere in the field where I saw drivers completely overwhelmed and out of their element. It seemed like everyone deserved to be out there this race. This race, it was top to bottom an enjoyable race to watch. There wasn't guys out there who was like, that guy should not be on the track right now. He's just in the way. And none of that. Like, none of, I mean, I don't think any of our yellow flags really came out because of people just not being able to drive the car. It was everyone was having trouble. Everyone, it happened. I mean, Eric Wolf was the guy that wiped out at the end of the race there.
Yeah.
And he's our defending champion, so.
No, it was a great race. We're getting ready to bring in our second place driver who might have a little bit of a different outlook as far as the race being amazing, but Caden Honeycutt, you got a copy, sir.
Sir.
You put on just an awesome show tonight. You were up front, top 3 vehicle for most of the race. Once you saw Chad Presnall able to use Eric Wolf almost to his advantage there coming out of 4, on that restart, did you think that you had anything for Chad Presnall?
I think I did, because on that last restart, he went from 4/10 gap to 2/10 gap, and matter one corner off 3 and 4 the last lap. But, just a heartbreak. Better than I did on first run. Then I got paranoid over that, started saving tires a lot again and again and again. And it just cautions kept falling.
Yeah.
It burned me one time. But it's a heartbreaker.
Well, Caden, again, you don't race with us every single week in every single series, but, anytime you show up, you really come out and you put on an incredible show. So, I mean, is there any chance that we see you more regularly going forward?
Yes, for sure. I'm going to be back next week. Probably not for the Grand National race, but I will. The Cup race in New Hampshire and the next day in the truck. So planning to do those, but looking for wins there. Redemption on this race because this is my race to lose, and I end up losing it. So.
Yeah, well, it wasn't for you didn't lose it because of a lack of effort. As again, leaders going 3 wide, an incredible race again. Of course, I know it doesn't feel as awesome when you finish second, but do you have any shout-outs that you want to give here?
DRL, most efficient racing league I've ever seen in my life, run by Martin. All these other guys that I've never seen our league run so more efficient in my life. So thank you guys for putting on a heck of a broadcast for those viewers on YouTube. And I'll see y'all next week, hopefully. I plan to be here back from Montana. So I'm going to have my vacation, come back, new attitude, new style. So we're going to get after New Hampshire.
Awesome. It was a pleasure watching you race tonight. So enjoy your vacation, buddy.
See you later. Thank you.
Again, we were speaking with our second place finisher. We'll go over here to our third place finisher, Mr. Jonathan Schwartz. Jonathan Schwartz, you got a copy, sir?
Yes, sir, I got you.
In that second half of the race, you were able to get some clean air. You're really able to check out. You had some good runs there. Ultimately, a couple cautions fell. You kind of got stuck, third, fourth place there at the end. How disappointing are you? Thinking, especially with 30, 40 to go, that you had the car to beat?
I'm not at all disappointed. The clean air really helped my car for a while, and I started 9, so I wasn't really expecting to run that well tonight anyway. But good job to Chad and kind of surviving the mayhem at the end there. Is getting kind of crazy, and it was a fun race overall. And once I had the clean air, the car got probably 10 times better than it was at the start of the race because how tight it was. But getting stuck in traffic at the end, that's just how racing plays out sometimes.
Right. No, of course. I mean, you did an excellent job on pit road, especially in that middle to late part of the race, consistently coming out in first and stuff like that, and obviously that was a huge benefit. Martin, do you have anything here for Mr. Jonathan Schwartz?
That was a crazy finish to that race. That whole race, I know you guys, you and Caden were right on top of each other. That's what I think we were looking for at Daytona, and there wasn't a lot of that at the end of the race at Daytona. And here it was side by side, real battles for the end of the race. Good racing by all you guys up there, and good luck next week.
All right, thank you.
Awesome, Jonathan. Is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to before we let you go, sir?
I want to thank Cortland, the company that I work for. They always do a great job at allowing me to do what I do and enjoy doing what I do. So thank you guys for doing the broadcast every week, and James for putting on a good show for you guys. So see you guys next week.
Awesome, Jonathan. We will see you next week, sir.
All right, you have a good one.
Speaking with, we will find Kean Riley Howell here in the chat. Where is he hiding at? There he is. All right, Kean, you got a copy, sir?
Try
Try that one more time, Kean. You got a copy, sir?
Yes.
Okay. You're a little bit robotic here on the mic, so we'll try to get through this interview here. It seemed to be you were top 5 for most of the race there, even with the damage to the hood that you had. How do you think your race went?
It could have been better, but there wasn't a dull moment. It was spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Coming back to 4th from like 20th, after kind of driving in the back of somebody, but it was there wasn't a dull moment out there. It was good stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't really argue when the leaders are going 3 wide and all that stuff. Was there a moment for you in that race where you thought that you could, if you took advantage of that situation, you could have given yourself an opportunity to win tonight?
I was trying to take care of the tires on that second to last round before the last lap restart. I wanted the win so bad tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought I really had a chance, but they put on a little bit of a better effort than me, Chad and Caden and Jonathan did, and my mirror was full of Anthony for half the race, so
right.
Under a lot of pressure.
Awesome, Kean. Well, again, thanks for putting on such a good show. Again, the leaders did great. The whole field did great. Is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to, buddy?
Whole top 5. Sure, this broadcast crew once again was great tonight. This league, it's just spectacular. There's nothing beats this. It's great.
No, I mean, that's I'd venture to guess it's probably one of the better races that we've had this season. I know as far as finishes go, that's probably top 3. Texas might be tough to beat. You weren't there for that, but that was a crazy finish. But again, thank you for coming out. Thanks for putting on a great show, Kean, and we'll see you on the next one, yeah?
Looking forward to next week, guys. Thanks a lot.
And I was speaking with Kean Howell, as we are now going to speak with our 5th place driver, Mr. Anthony Burrows here. Anthony, you got a copy, sir?
Yeah, I got you.
I know 5th isn't exactly probably what you wanted, but you didn't qualify. You didn't get the pole or anything, but I'm sure you wanted to come out here and win because that's what you do. But you had that awesome battle with all those leaders there at the end. Was there really an opportunity there where you could have taken advantage of something and gotten that win?
I probably could have. I felt like I didn't quite have the speed as some of them, and I pushed a lot harder than most of them at the beginning of the run. So by the end, I really had nothing for them. But if I could have done a better job saving my tires, I think I could have gone up there and maybe done something. But I'm really not too upset with the 5th place. It's probably one of my worst tracks, at least. So yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with the 5th.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, as we head into next week, we go to the big short track, basically, of New Hampshire. Will you be joining us next week? And B, if so, is New Hampshire the type of track that maybe you do well on?
Yeah, I'll be showing up next week. Yeah, I enjoy New Hampshire for the most part. I wish you're able to race a little bit more there. It's around the high side. You can't really. It's like kind of tough to pass there,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's a track I enjoy quite a bit, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Awesome, Anthony. Well, again, great race by all you guys. You guys did an incredible job up front. Well, the whole field actually, but you guys really put on an incredible show, 3 wide for the win and all that stuff. Is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to, Anthony, before we let you go?
Yeah, everyone who was clean in that race, whoever raced clean. Kean, Caden, Jonathan, Eric Wolf. Unfortunately, what happened to him? I'm about halfway in. Yeah, everyone that raced up in the front. I'm surprised we made it to the end, to be honest. But yeah, everyone did a great job keeping it together and making it to the end. And shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast as always, and James and all the admins for putting on this league.
Awesome, Anthony. Well, it's always a pleasure to watch you go out there and stretch your stuff. We'll see you next week in New Hampshire.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Well, Martin, as we get set to wrap up this broadcast here, again, just a reminder, everybody, this was the Kentucky 200. The next race will, as we just spoke with Anthony Burrows about, the next race will be at New Hampshire for 150 laps at the 1 mile short track, maybe. And again, tomorrow, bringing you more live coverage here on DRL TV. That tomorrow's broadcast will be of the Winona Road Truck Series. David Wellborn, Taylor Butcher, Benjamin will be bringing you live coverage pre the race and then post race coverage as well. So pretty excited about tomorrow's race. That should be a good one. And then, of course, next week's race in this series, the Molnar Automotive Series at New Hampshire. I think that's going to be a great show too. Again, tough to pass. There's going to be a lot of bumpers, a lot of door dings there, I guess is what you want to call it. People trying to pass. Martin, you got anything?
Well, we're going to probably see the boxing ring heat up after this race. A few people not too happy with the way people in front of them operated during wrecks, I guess. I saw some of that. We saw Ed Birch kind of give a little bump to Joe Helt after that Eric Wolf spin out. But and most of the people I've been hearing getting a little upset. Kind of upset for the wrong reasons. I mean, it wasn't the guy that you're upset at. It's not his fault. I mean, nothing really could do. So I think tempers get a little heated as you have a race like that where you're just always pushing. It's always 3 wide. It's always 2 wide, 2, 3, 4 wide at some points. And there's always going to be like, hey, what the heck was that about? But for us up in the booth and for all our viewers, it was a great race. It was exciting. There was always something to look at in the field. Always something happening. And again, we had a few. I'm not sure how many yellows it ended up being, 4 or 5. I think probably 4 yellows. And we had a nice long run to start the race, and then the runs got a little shorter. But it wasn't, considering the crazy racing that was going on out there, that was a pretty clean race, all things considered.
No, absolutely. And again, wreck avoidance, everyone's going to have their own opinion on it. Of course, my opinion is always to be extra conservative. That way you're not tearing up your car. But when you do that, you run the risk of getting rear-ended. So,
well, there's only so much you can do. And there's only so much you can do when you're spinning out. You've been caught in a wreck and you're spinning all over the track. And you spun into me. It's like, well, yeah, because I have no control over the car at that point.
Right, that's why it's called spinning.
On, trying to, yeah. So it's just unfortunate. I mean, I can't tell you how many times that's what happens to me. I get caught in the wreck of a guy spinning, and it's like, great, guy spins and it's right into my path. I don't get mad at him though. I just, it's just bad luck for you. That's how it goes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night when we get in the trucks here at Kentucky and hopefully can be somewhat competitive. I hope I can at least run in the top 20 and not just be a complete, driving a brick around the thing. But it seems like it's been going that way lately. So
I know overall Kentucky does promote the good, pretty good racing, and with the trucks tomorrow night, again we will bring up that flyer here with the trucks tomorrow night. Those trucks always they promote pack racing anyway because they're a little underpowered, and obviously their grip packages are pretty aggressive. So there'll be a ton of grip. And basically everyone going 3 wide probably for most of the race, to be honest. And hopefully again, with people getting their feelings hurt, whatever, they'll get over it. It's racing. If they don't want to race, they don't have to play. So again, this has been myself, Martin Wenzel. Awesome race. We look forward to next week at New Hampshire. Again, if you enjoyed this race, you have a driver that you follow specifically, hit the subscribe button. If you want to join us as a racing competitor or as a broadcaster or anything of that nature, please visit the website in the description and reach out to Mr. James Pandolf, and he will be in contact with you. So again, everyone, thank you so much for watching. This has been DRL TV. We'll see you next time.